Hey guys, welcome back. DripCoach here with Drip and Farm for Poverty, where we don't trust, we verify, and operate with integrity and transparency. Let's dive in. So this video is me kind of diving into the math again, but this time of Bitcoin, because as you know, we've had the halving and Bitcoin has continued chop sideways. Like I said, it's not going to be just an automatic up and to the right. All of the previous cycles and the analysts say that we will hit our top somewhere between spring and fall of next year, 2025. So we have at least another 12 to 16 months of positive price appreciation before Bitcoin actually peaks due to this halving cycle. So what does this mean? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about like what the significant amount of Bitcoin, the minimum you should try to hold, and where that number comes from and how it ties into gold. We hear that Bitcoin is the digital gold, but this value that I came up with is kind of interesting of how it literally dollar wise as of right now's prices matches up with gold. So you're going to find out that it's a much smaller number than you think you need, and now is a great time to accumulate it. So let's take a look at some of the fundamentals first of Bitcoin. So you guys should know that BTC verifiably is going to have no more than 21 million Bitcoins mined, and the last mining date for that is around 2140, I believe. But the interesting piece of that is that of that 21 million that will potentially be out there, right now there's about 19.6 million, and there's a large chunk of that has been lost. So according to Chain Analysis, they estimate about 3.7 million Bitcoin has been lost. This article on CoinGate said 7.8. This other one says 3 to 4 million. So we're gonna go with that about 3.5 for this calculation I'm gonna show you later. And also, if you count in Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet, which has not moved yet, and most people believe that is because it's Hal Finney who created Bitcoin and Hal Finney passed away, then that 1 million is forever lost as well, because those keys went with him to the grave, most undoubtedly, because if they didn't, someone would have definitely touched those by now. Now, if we don't see it after Bitcoin breaks the 6-digit mark, then definitely those keys are lost. And if again, some of the other ones that are out there don't move after we break 6 figures, then they're lost as well. So for this example, we're going to use that 21 million hard cap and 3.5 million. I'm gonna show you the numbers later, but just want you to know where it comes from. 3.5 million that has never moved, and the 1 million of Satoshi Nakamoto's, potentially Hal Finney's, that will not move. And then we're going to go back to Michael Saylor, because his example he gives in here about what the potential price for Bitcoin is going to be in the future is something that I touched on in the past. And the reason why it's significant is because there is no top for Bitcoin, meaning there is no ultimate dollar value. The reason why is because of that word dollar. So since we price things in dollar and there is no max supply of dollars, that means there can never be a truly max price number associated, because we are constantly increasing that denominator, the dollar, by printing more of it. So to drive that point home, listen to Michael Saylor talk about what happened to his real estate property in Miami, so that it actually makes a lot more sense.
The dollar is losing 7 to 10% of its value a year for 100 years. That means over the course of 100 years, the dollar loses 99% of its value. My house in Miami Beach was purchased for $100,000 in 1930. I bought it for $14 million in 2012. Today, you know, yeah, so 100,000 to 50 million in less than 100 years. That's not the house getting more valuable, that's the currency getting less value. Okay, if you took...
So listen to that. So his house increased by about 3x in 10 years, like you said, but that wasn't the price. Like the house itself, nothing changed. He didn't add 3 times more value to the house. Like he didn't add a bunch more rooms or add a bunch of more pools or anything like that. Like it's still the same house as it was in 1930. But the reason it's jumped up 3x almost is because of the amount of dollars put into the system. So that's why everything, all assets go up, all commodities go up, all prices of goods go up, is because we are increasing the denominator, the amount of dollars. So it's a debasement of currency. And that's why people are flocking to Bitcoin as a store of value, because when you price things in Bitcoin, then like 1 Bitcoin is 1 Bitcoin. That's it. So right now, if you buy a house for 2 Bitcoin, then that is 2 Bitcoin that you pay for your house. And when you go later in the future to sell it to somebody else, if you sell it in Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin and Bitcoin. That's it. So understanding that dollars or any other country continues to inflate their currency and debase the currency, then that's why he was showing you how the US is the best so far, because they won the war and they've only lost 99% of their value. So the number one winner of the war only loses 99%. All the other ones go to zero. So if you had held any other currency, it would have gone to zero by now. So that's important to understand when we start to look at the numbers for what potentially the price of Bitcoin could do and what amount you may want to hold mathematically, of course. So now let's go to the total number of people who use Bitcoin or hold Bitcoin right now. So according to Chain Analysis, that same group, they say that there are more than 460 million Bitcoin addresses have been created. So we'll say 500 million have been created. Now, remember, one person can own more than one address, just like you can own more than one crypto wallet address, like with on your Binance or whatever. And then the same thing for, Metamask wallet is what I meant to say. You can do the same thing on exchanges. So if I have, for me, for example, I have a Bitcoin address on Coinbase, I have a Bitcoin address on Binance, I now have a Bitcoin address on the Drip to BTC platform. Then I have a Ledger address. So I myself have at least like 5 different Bitcoin addresses. So here they say that there are 67 million addresses with a balance of $1 or more, and only 40 million that have between 1 to 100. So there's a very, very small part of the population that actually hold Bitcoin. So we have a lot of adoption to go. Now, tying this back to gold, because when we see with gold, they don't know how many people actually own it, because very few people actually own physical gold, like in their possession. A lot of it, they own the actual, gold receipt, so to speak. But if they were to divide that by the total population, there is, as of this article, there was 5.1 billion ounces of gold. And then there was, at that time, 6.8 billion people. Now this has increased a bit. So there is now 6.7 billion and 8 billion people. So that gives us about 0.83 ounces per person. So if every person were able to get the available gold out there and hold it physically, then that comes out to just under 1 ounce a person. So I'm rounding this up for the sake of this video, and you're going to see why. So 1 ounce per person is what you could hold of gold. And we're saying that Bitcoin is digital gold, but because it's digital and that it can be transacted immediately and it's easier to fractionalize, like imagine again trying to take a gold bar somewhere and sell shavings of it so that you can pay for something. You can't do that, but with Bitcoin you most definitely can, albeit very volatile at the moment, but you can definitely still use it to transact if you'd like to. So this number is important because we're going to find out what that actually is in dollar terms, and then what that would mean in regards to the number of people if we were to divide that by the population. So real quick, we can look at that cost of 1 ounce gold bar. Like we were actually able to give one person 1 ounce of the available gold in circulation that has been mined. Each person could have almost 1 ounce, and that almost 1 ounce is about $2,426. So now when we tie all this together, here's the values that we get. That's why this is important. So let's take a look at this. So here what I've done is taken the 21 million BTC that's ever going to be created, the lost, rounding that to the 3.5 million, and Satoshis available that we believe will never move. So that leaves us with 16.5 million that can ever be traded and transacted. If we divide that by the total amount of people, that will come up to same way we do with gold. You get 0.002 gold per person. I'm sorry, Bitcoin per person. If every person were to have equal amounts. Now we know that many will hold more than others and tons of people will not hold any at all. But this is the same thing that they did with gold. So that's why I did it here. And that right now will only cost you $135. Even if your dollar cost averaging only $10 a month, you should be able to get here. So this is definitely available for every single person in the world, in my humble opinion. Like I told you guys, 60% of the world's population makes less than $10 a day or less than $300 a month. But as of right now, this is still feasible. And we have a little while to go before that gets to an astronomical number that maybe they won't be able to hold. So when we look here, here's what they're talking about with gold, 0.08 per person. Now, this number is going to be interesting, like I said, to look at this dollar value, what is equivalent right now in US dollars. So I did this here also to show the scarcity. So Bitcoin is 99.68% more scarce than gold. So with 6.7 billion ounces of gold available in the world versus the only 16 million BTC, you're going to see it's going to be much harder to hold the equivalent of one Bitcoin versus 1 ounce of gold, or the equal amount 0.002 later on. So when we look at this number here, this $2,000 is almost what this would actually cost you when BTC reaches the gold market cap. So the current gold market cap is $50.7 trillion. So that would put Bitcoin at a current price of $750,000. So if we were at that gold market cap, which is what everyone assumes we will get, and then that's a minimum. Most people are in the same camp of saying it's far more valuable than gold due to the properties that I mentioned earlier, but that would put it at $1,500. So ironically, that is again very similar to whatever the equivalent would be for each person getting equal amounts of gold. So this 0.002, that's what this is, 0.002 at the future gold market cap value is $1,500. So right now you can buy it for $135. When it gets to gold's market cap, it'll be worth $1,528. So this is the magic number that I think every person should strive for. Now, it's not a lot of money even at gold's market cap, but that is a decent amount for some. And then remember, by the time this gets there, I believe we will have more DeFi rails that are more stable, that maybe people are able to loan against this, like Michael Saylor is doing right now. Maybe there will be institutions and DeFi kind of guardrails to where you can leverage your Bitcoin and people are using it as a store of value like it's meant to be. So while this may not seem like a lot, that is a big chunk for, again, those impoverished countries. Now, here's where we get to the really interesting part. So before we get there, that's from Michael Saylor. Let's go to Raoul Pal on his thesis. You guys know I've listened to him quite a bit.
So to sum up what the biggest macro trade of all time is, it's crypto going from 2.7 trillion where we are today to, let's say, 12 trillion by the end of this cycle, and on to 100 trillion within 10 years. And you've got to understand, this would be the fastest accumulation of an asset class in all recorded history in the shortest period of time.
So what he said is going from the 2.7 trillion of where we're at now, which right now of this video is 2.4. This is the total crypto market cap, 2.4 trillion. And gold, did I have that up? Where'd I go? Gold market cap is again 15.7 trillion. But he's saying within 10 years, this asset class, crypto, will go from 2.4 trillion to 100 trillion. What that means is that's a 41x on the current asset class. So distributing all things equal of the current value and just multiplying each of these by 41, then that's where we get a new price for Bitcoin. Now, some things won't be multiplied equivalently, but the market cap for like USDT could. So, right. So let's just take a look at what that looks like. When we come back here, that's where this value comes in. So now Bitcoin is sitting at 2.7 million per BTC based off of, again, this value here being available. And this is actually not correct either. Technically, only about 20% of this is actually traded. So I didn't want to go even lower, but just to show you guys, like, if this all started getting traded and people were no longer hodling, they were actually actively trading, this would be that price, 2.7 million per BTC. And that same $135 investment, according to Ralph Powell, if it gets there in 10 years, would now be worth $5,634. So if you were to do a 0.02 and spending $1,350, well, then you get a 10x on this as well. So that now gives you a $50,000 investment in 10 years, or that you're holding. And then the equivalent, of course, of 0.1, which is what I told you guys I'm shooting for on the Drip to BTC platform. So that's going to cost right now at these prices about $13,000. Well, that now multiply that, you have 500,000 here, $500,000 off of a $13,000 investment in potentially 10 years. That's crazy. So this number is very, very significant in my humble opinion of what, like, a minimum people globally should be striving for. If you're watching this video, then you're probably already above this, and you should shoot for that 0.02 to 0.2 value. I think I did that wrong. I said 0.1, but it should be 0.2. Yeah, so a 100x on this, basically 0.2. So right now at today's prices, that costs you $13,000, which is a decent amount of capital for most people. But in 10 years, that could be a $560,000 investment. And that's without additional debasement of the currency. If it continues to debase, then it could be worth more than that in dollar value. But hopefully, again, in 10 years, you would be able to leverage this. So imagine that opportunity. So that brings me back to trying to leverage this to get to that. Originally I said 0.1, but that $0.2 value I think will be even better. So this is that degen play to help me get there, and leveraging and not letting that Bitcoin sit idle. And like I told, I think it was Matt in my DMs, my goal is to get it there before the next halving peak. Now, the next halving peak will not take us to these prices by no means. Like, most people are projecting the 150 to 250K range, but then we'll have 2 more cycles to get us here, according to Ralph Powell. Again, I'm not smart like him. I'm just regurgitating what he said. So, and all these other macro gurus and BlackRock, Fidelity, all these people that are investing in Bitcoin, they're projecting that it will continue to go up as well. It's done an 130% plus on average for the last decade. So why would it not continue to do so? So that means, even though these are expensive prices and you may have missed a 16K at the bottom of this previous cycle, and you may have missed, 4 or 5 or whatever from the last one, you have another opportunity now, and you have a way to increase that and kind of degen into this. So like I said, will be taking these opportunities, showing you guys how I'm playing it to see how it goes, because I just showed you the numbers that this is, and as Ralph Powell said, the greatest opportunity probably of our lifetime. Like, you will not get this again. If you weren't around for investing in tech stocks for the .com bubble, then this is the next best thing, because AI and crypto are wrapped together in this narrative. And if you're watching this video, that means you are in the know. As I showed you with the amount of people that own gold, it's not that many. I think they said 10% of the US population. So out of the 50 million in the US, it's only 5 million people own gold themselves. So it's a much smaller amount of people that own gold globally. And again, a very small amount of people globally that own Bitcoin, because they're not in the know about it. But you can be, and it's a great place to get started. All right, that's all I got. Hope that provided some value. If it did, smash that HBO special, help a brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya. Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? SPRITZ Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now.